Welcome to the Chasing Ebenezer show. This is a show where we talk about stuff, play you some music, and encourage you to be creative. This season, we are exploring the art of being human. We want to say thank you to our patrons who support us each month. If you want to know more about that, visit us on patreon.com/Chasing Ebenezer. For more information about our musical endeavors, visit chasingebenezer.com. We hope you enjoy the show. Welcome to the Chasing Ebenezer show. It has been a while. I'm Benjamin, and this is Heidi.
This is me.
And we were taking some time to be human. As in, our schedule got really busy.
We got too busy.
We got too busy to do this. So we're back. We're back.
If
and
you
we're so
didn't know
glad
we were
to be
gone,
here. Yeah.
oh well, you missed a lot.
Oh wow. So let's see. Thank you to our patrons. It's been a while since we've done this. I got to remember everything. Thank you so much to our patrons. And I want to say something else. I've noticed that some of our patrons have been increasing their giving.
Yeah,
which that has been so kind. Thank you very much.
We are so grateful, and we just really appreciate you, and you're making it possible for us to start on this new album, and we're going to be saying that for a while, because this is a bigger album, and so it's going to take us a while, so we're probably going to be saying that for 1 to 2 years project, which we're gonna set it. We're not even, I've learned. We've learned. Don't give a date on an album until it is done. Yeah. Because things happen. They do happen. So we are so grateful for you. So thank you so much. And if you're watching and you want to be a part of our community of patrons, go to patreon.com, search Chasing Ebenezer, and there's all kind of different perks there. Which, by the way, patrons, if you've not claimed perks from us, do it. It causes her stress. Which then causes me stress, and then it makes creating very challenging for us. So if you've not claimed your perks, you have a microphone right there. It's gonna pick you up just fine. You know what? It's all good. If you've not claimed your perks, do it. All right. I'm just naturally loud, so. So now that I've given the dad speech to our patrons, I was gonna say. Yes. Oh, yeah. So let's see. What are you excited about? Well, I am excited about a book I'm reading. I've wanted to read Kindred for a long time, and so I've started reading that on my Multnomah County Library app. And by the way, I'm also excited that the library has now, in our county, they don't have late fees. They're calling it the Heidi Clause, I think. The Heidi project. Like, since I was probably the highest late fee resident of Multnomah County and have been This is true. So you only get fined if, you never return the book and they have to, buy a new one. So I am trying to still return things, guys. So anyway, Kindred is a book I've wanted to read for a long time, and so I'm really enjoying that. And I'm really excited about how awesome we had a recital for our students, our music students, and they did such an amazing job, and so that was just exciting to see. So I'm excited that hopefully that encouraged them, and so I guess that's a excitement. Which counts. And our cat, by the way, she's definitely distracting us. She is running around here, so it's okay. If you hear little noises or us looking funny ways, it's because she's just... It's her. It's not you. It's her fault. Yeah, I'm excited because this year our band got selected to play at Pioneer Square for Noon Tunes, which will be in August 16th. I bet you we're going to be playing at noon. I have a suspicion. Yeah, no, we're so honored. We were really excited about that. Really very grateful. So that's something I'm very, very excited about. Looking forward to that. And so if you're in Portland on August 16th at noon. And you go to Pioneer Square, guess what? We're going to be there too with our full band. It's going to be great. So I'm really excited about that.
Honestly, I'm excited to be back in the swing of doing recording.
Are you really?
Editing.
Because
earlier I wasn't. But
about 45 minutes ago.
Yeah, but that's our show topic. We're gonna get to that in a minute.
Okay.
Yeah, but no, it's good to be back in the swing of things. We got band practice tonight. I think we're gonna be working on some newer material, so I'm excited about that. You know, I'm excited that it's sunny outside.
Yeah, it is. Really nice.
I could really keep going, but I won't. I'll stop there. How did you feel your humanity?
Well, I just heard it. I heard my stomach growling. I don't know if you all heard that or not, but we started Weight Watchers. We kind of eased ourselves in, but
our 40s have arrived, so that means we have to be thinking about these things now.
Yeah. So apparently, I don't eat enough fruit and vegetables, and apparently I eat way too much bread. And apparently I drink almost no water. And so, yeah. So it's just hard to not do whatever you want.
Yeah. I remember those good old days as a teenager where I could eat. I ate so much Taco Bell as a teenager. And nothing against Taco Bell, but
No, because by the way, I'm actually writing a short story that has to do with Taco Bell.
So no, absolutely nothing against Taco Bell.
Yeah.
But I ate an ungodly amount of Taco Bell when I was a teenager, and I'm realizing I can't do that anymore now that I'm older and not have consequences. So, yeah.
But the thing that I do like about the Freestyle Weight Watchers, it's not like you can eat whatever you want, but you just have to decide if it's worth it or not. So it's like budgeting.
It imposes limitations on you in some way. It's like giving you a food allowance.
Yes.
Is that a better way to put it?
Yeah, I was just like we're using such big words that I was like, oh, what does he mean by that?
Yeah, food allowance.
Food allowance. Oh, yeah. So that's a little bit easier.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's a very human thing that was like, because it's kind of like the minute someone says, you can't have this or whatever, then you suddenly want it. So
yeah.
Whereas if you hadn't even noticed before that you wanted it, I don't know. You all get it. You get it.
Yeah. I guess my humanity was felt recently, like the past 45 minutes, probably connected to our show topic, because I don't know if you all have noticed, but prices have gone up with things. A lot. And when you work as hard as we do, and we do work hard. I know there's always a stereotype of musicians.
We want you to know that we're trying to work hard.
And then you
all work hard too.
And you find out that things outside of your control kind of end up sucking away the things that you work hard for.
Are you talking about gasoline?
Gasoline, yes. And travel. That can be really discouraging. So then you can get to those points of like, well, what's the point? So I had one of those. It wasn't a moment. It was probably a good hour or so. And was just feeling that, feeling that whole idea of like, you work hard, you really give everything you have to what you do. And when it feels like, I think I'm hearing your humanity. I'm
sorry, my stomach's growling, guys. I've only had applesauce today.
It's all right.
But 0 points.
It's all a part of the show. It can be really discouraging, and I know there are artists who make the decision to quit, and I know that there is I know that that's a thing, but yeah, that whole idea of like persevering and going through things even when they don't happen to work out the way that you thought they would is something that I'm definitely feeling today. Yeah. So we're going to talk about perseverance, not perseverance, perseverance. And that's a hard word to say, by the way. We're going to be talking about that because I think as creatives, there's the idea of creativity.
Oh, it's such a wonderful idea.
It's a wonderful idea. There's
lovely.
The idea of songwriting. There's the idea of making art.
Being a writer.
And then there's the whole reality of it. And reality has a way of giving you a really strong choice of whether you actually want to do it or not. So we're going to talk about that because perseverance is really important as an artist. And there are also times to know when to quit. So
Would you let us know when
let
that
us know
is?
because we're not
we
there.
Don't know.
We are not there. So anyway, that's what we're going to talk about. So here we go. All right. So what is something that you gave up on because it got hard that you regret?
Well, I don't think I regret the first thing, but I was planning to be a Supreme Court Justice of the United States.
That would be pretty hard.
And I think at this point we're pretty safe to say it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I found out, wait, you have to be a lawyer and then you have to be a judge. Oh my goodness, that's too much work. So I didn't do that, but I'm relieved about that one. I do regret, my mom was an awesome piano player and I only took lessons from her for like 6 months and then I stopped. And so it wasn't until I was older that I started kind of teaching myself, but bad decision. I could be so much better at piano if I'd like stuck with it, and I did not. So that was
not
bad
good.
Idea.
Yeah, I regret. Okay, so before I was a musician, I was really into martial arts as a kid. I mean, martial arts was to me at that time what music is to me now. It was very much part of my identity. I regret not finishing the karate school I was at and getting my black belt. I was one belt away. One belt away. I could have gotten my black belt as a kid.
That's too bad.
I regret that, and I regret I took Taekwondo for a while, and it was like aerobic Taekwondo. And let me tell you, that is hard. That is like some of the hardest exercise I've ever done in my life. Really, really hard. But you got to break boards, so that was really cool. But I would get bored with styles of martial arts, like in the same way, like when I like with instruments. You know, I'm gonna start playing this. No, I'm gonna play this.
Do you know Ben has some instruments?
I have a lot, but I would do this, and so by just getting drawn to the next shiny thing, when the honeymoon period of the other thing wears off, you know, where actual work is required. I regret that because I didn't cultivate a skill of really knowing something well versus just being a hack at different things. Aww. So I regret that. Yeah.
And my pattern is that I think I've probably talked about this before. I'll get to like 90% of a project and then I get stuck and then I start working on something new and then I'll take like a long time away from something. And so that's like with creative stuff. With like exercising, I just won't do it for a long time. I just don't do it.
And then going back is so painful. Like, oh, it's so painful.
It's you. Come on, you all know. I know you've got something like that out there. So what I'm trying to get better at is not giving up on things so quickly, or at least taking a baby break and not like the massive break. As I really am, you know, I just wrote I posted it on my Facebook page. I wrote a prologue for a book that I had started as a screenplay years ago. And it was, you know, so coming back to things after years rather than like all that, not that it's wasted from the past. So I am trying to, if there was things that were really meaningful to me that I really cared about that I haven't finished, I'm trying to return to them rather than keep on new things. So sometimes time away is really good though.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it gives you perspective, but I am trying to take some shorter breaks rather than these big monstrous seasons away.
Right. So there's like this whole thing about giving up things because they get hard or because, you know, it's no longer the fairy tale dream that you thought it would be. There's that.
Let's face it, guys. There's very few things that are actually fairy tales.
This is true. This is very true.
Or maybe they're for that brief little season. Most things are pretty hard.
But then there's
anything that's worth it.
Right.
I think.
Yeah, really absolutely. I agree.
Sorry, you were talking.
That's okay, but you can.
I didn't mean to interrupt.
You interjected. You didn't interrupt.
I'm going to take a break.
There's a big difference. You're going to take a break and come back to it. Okay. But there's this whole idea of like sometimes to embrace what you truly love, you have to let go of other things. And so that's where sometimes, you know, just doing something because you started doing it and you're going to keep doing it, that's not healthy either. That's like pointless perseverance.
Oh, yeah.
So an example for me, and I'm glad I did this, and I don't even, you know, when you're young, you don't make conscientious decisions. At least I didn't. I just kind of fell into them. was I gave up playing saxophone when I was in, like, after I finished middle school. And, it was a good experience. I learned it, but it was not making me love music.
Oh,
It was something I would have to do. I would get to the performance. I was in marching band. If you were a person who loves marching band, good for you.
You do not.
I did not. And my middle school colors were teal and black. It was back in the 90s.
Yeah.
And marching band season was in the spring. And in Virginia, it gets hot in the spring.
Yeah.
So I'm having to carry a heavy instrument, wearing clothes I don't like as a middle schooler. And if middle schoolers hate wearing clothes they don't like, wasn't for me. But then I found the guitar, and I found the bass guitar, and that was something that clicked with my soul. So, there's things that you do that. Has there ever been anything like that with you, that you gave up on, said no to one thing so you could say a better yes to something else?
Oh, I'm sure there is.
But you need to think about it?
I'm sure there is. Well, because I hear that you can't do everything.
Apparently that's true. Yeah.
Apparently you can't do everything in life that you want. So, I'd have to think about it. But that's a good question. Yeah, I'm sure there are things.
Yeah, I'm sure there are too. But I don't have any for you to tell you.
No, if I think of them, I'll let you know. You could let us know out there in internet land.
Yeah. But like, as we're talking about that word is so hard, perseverance. Very hard to say as a creator.
Say it where like you can't say your R's, and that'd be really cool.
Perseverance. It's important because as creatives, we can be very feelings oriented, which isn't bad. A lot of good art is made from feelings. But when things get tough, when things get hard, when the reality and the actual work of your relationship with your craft starts, it can be really easy to quit. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that.
So apparently between this moment and one separate moments ago, I've spilled coffee on myself.
This is a problem for you.
Yesterday in Tacoma we were playing, and I spilled an entire cup of McDonald's coffee. And
who was that coffee for?
For you. I went and got it special while you were setting up. I came back and I was trying to get the lid on. I spilled it everywhere. Burned my booty. It like went everywhere down it hurt so bad. And I spilled the entire thing. And yet the show had to go on.
It sure did.
So I played anyway, friends. So there's my perseverance story.
And I played without coffee.
You had,
I had Mountain Dew, but I played without coffee.
So anyway, there's my perseverance story of the week.
That's a good one. So, in all seriousness, I mean, that is definitely serious.
Oh, it was serious.
But we acknowledge that being an artist is hard, that being a creative of any kind is hard. So for you...
It's hard to be a person.
True.
People.
Yes, it is. So for you, what are the things that make doing what you do hard? When are you tempted to quit? When do you find those give up moments?
There's so many every single day. So other than when you spill all over yourself, which sometimes that makes you really upset. I think when I see other people doing well at what I'm trying to do, I'm like, well, I should just quit now. There's so many more people doing what I do better. There's 10 billion creatives out there in the world. What's the point?
I laugh because it's true.
Yeah, I think when something like I have the idea in my head and I just cannot see it materialize into a song or a story or a painting, it's just like so frustrating. I think that last 10% too is so hard. Like, and sometimes the last 10% takes longer than the whole 90% before that.
Yes.
That's
true.
So you're just like, I'm never going to finish this because that last ending and then new ideas too. I think exhaustion definitely.
Yeah. I would say I've never wanted to quit music. like never. But there are times where I do not do the discipline of maintaining a rhythm of doing it. That's where I get taken out. So when I think exhaustion is a huge one for me. Like I'll have this great idea. One of the new things that we're trying to do is set like like a project for each day, because we're self-employed. So artists who are self-employed, it's hard to be structured. And so I was trying to use Tuesday as my day to be creative. Well, what I found was that the second I had a day to be creative, I suddenly didn't want to be creative. I suddenly had this lull in energy, this lull in motivation, this fear, honestly, of what if I sit down and nothing happens? And then I have to do something with that hole that's there. And so very often it's like, oh, I'll just look at Facebook, or I'll just watch TV, or I'll just do something else that I consider work, And so I found for me that pushing through what, okay, I got to plug this book. And if you're a creative, you've probably been familiar with this. It's a book by a guy named Stephen Pressfield called The War of Art. And it talks about this. It's this idea of this reality of resistance. Like, it feels like there's something that opposes you every time you want to step into a creative work. And I find that is the thing that makes perseverance hard for me, because I say uncle really quick when I start to feel resistance, or if I'm not if not feeling it, or if I feel like I'm not doing well. Like, my voice is something I'm very self-conscious about as a singer. So if I feel like I'm not singing well, that's, rather than really practicing, I just start getting in my head and choking even more. So, yeah, that's where it kind of shows up for me. No fun. Where does it show up for you? You might be the ones that just have a hard time completing tasks, or getting started on tasks. It's very challenging. Or all of the above. Maybe you have a whole other issue. We would love to know your issues. Let us know. So, the reality is that we all experience, perseverance is a word, exists because there is things that oppose us both internally and externally from doing the things that we're called to do. So for you, what have you found helpful in persevering and encouraging you to keep moving?
Other than whining about it and feeling sorry for myself.
I mean, those can be things, yes.
Well, I think I've really tried to look at that last 10%. My friend Terry, she just was encouraging, like, maybe telling me maybe that's when you need other people to encourage you. So, you've helped me with that. I'll say, I just need you to tell me that you can do this. And sometimes that's all you need. So, that's good. I do think taking breaks, healthy breaks, is good. I'm trying to actually get a little bit more sleep. Because just that,
it's good.
Just that simple exhaustion thing can definitely help. And I think you've tried to encourage me. One of the patterns is that I try something once or twice, and then I'm like, well, that didn't work. I'm trying to change that mentality, that you really need to honestly give something more than one attempt or two attempts. Like if I haven't lost any weight the first week on a new eating plan, that doesn't mean that you just give up. So
yeah, apparently that doesn't work.
That's not recommended best practice. So I'm trying to, if it's something that is good and healthy that I want in my life, I need to be committed to the process of it. So I'm trying. This is something I have a very hard time with. So
good. All right, what's helped me in persevering? I'm still learning how to do this because I have not gotten this mastered yet. Some things I feel like I'm starting to step into are, discipline is really about getting yourself ready for creative work more so than it is just the creative work. So yeah, I can't expect to suddenly just generate a song out of thin air if I'm not practicing regularly, if I'm not writing regularly, if I'm not being in a place where creativity is happening without the need. It's like I have to be in the process of doing things to make when I actually do the work.
Give us an example.
Okay.
a little more.
Okay, so I think you've heard us talk about this before. Is like the daily pages from Julie Cameron's book, where you just write stream of consciousness, 3 pages. That gets my writing muscle going.
Yeah.
So then when I'm sit down to write lyrics, I've already been in the habit of just putting stuff on paper, and then it moves it in there. Or if I'm doing vocal exercises on a regular basis, don't plan on using those on an album anytime soon.
That's what scales are for.
Exactly.
In improving. Yeah. It's like your fingers know if I'm in this key, your brain and your... So that way it's... But they're super boring.
But the mindset of it is, I know I'm doing this not for the purpose of making something great. So my editor is completely turned off at that point. And I'm just doing the mechanics that are needed for what I do as an artist. So that's been really helpful for me. And honestly, there is something to be said with taking in good art. There is something to be said for reading books about creativity, listening to good music, reading good authors that improve what you do, because inspiration is a thing. We weren't created to create in a vacuum. So, yeah. So those are some things for me that have been helpful.
There's a watercolor artist that I've been taking a class watching her videos online, and before she paints, she likes to make herself a cup of tea. And kind of like, this is my painting time now. Kind of like, you'll light a candle sometimes before you do something. So kind of like setting an intentional, like, okay. So I thought that was a nice idea. Like, whatever your cup of tea or your candle would be.
I think having rituals is really helpful for pretty much everything in life, but especially creative work. I think those are necessary. And to come up with your own, if you need some help, talk to us. We could probably help you think up something. Maybe you could help us think up stuff that's going to be helpful for us too. So yeah, do you have any prompts in mind for perseverance other than just keep going?
Than just keep going. It. I think it's always helpful to watch a movie or read a story about someone, who's really had to persevere. Mm-hmm. Because I think that in the last 10 or 20 years, we become very obsessed with like overnight sensations. Yes. But there's a lot of people who they had to persevere. So, Harriet is one of an awesome movie. I don't know, anybody you can think of people, but inventors or people who it's taken years and years and years. It's always good to learn from their story, because we always hear about them after they've made it or succeeded, but there's a whole life of process up until that. I think that maybe think about, is there something that you stopped doing a long time ago? Journal maybe about why, journal about that experience, and then consider, is that something I want to pick up again? Maybe or maybe not, but just to bring some type of either closure, intentional closure, or forward movement. Because a lot of times we stop things and we're not always like, how you were saying earlier, we just stop things. We don't really fully consciously think about why we're doing it. So sometimes we have guilt about it because we haven't fully thought through that. So just kind of bringing closure to anything that comes to mind that you regret. Yeah. And either picking it up again, or like, no, this needed to end and I'm releasing this. So that sounds like a good idea on the fly that I just thought of, since I failed to think about it before.
Well, I wouldn't have noticed. I would piggyback off of that too with the journaling thing, is if you're going to set aside time to be creative and you find that all of a sudden you have an energy drain or a motivation drain, or what Pressfield calls resistance, if that kicks up, keep a journal about that and write down what the feeling is, what was the thought, and because sometimes it's this vague thing. And to be able to name it and to be able to identify specifically what it is actually can kind of help in moving through it.
Yeah, and I think that too, if you do have something that you're stuck in and you need help, just let someone know, hey, I need some encouragement. So pick someone you trust who can encourage you. And the other thing that we talked about was often we can have self-imposed deadlines.
Yes.
So I think having someone else to reflect on a good deadline, because when you don't have any goal that you're working towards, it can be this nebulous.
Right.
So then you never have a goal. So I think a healthy deadline that can be flexible is great, but having some kind of whether it's you want to enter a contest or you want to do a open mic or something like that, it's nice to have kind of a deadline, which is why I do my recitals for students, so they get, oh yeah, I'm going to be playing, so I get to practice. And
I think that's really good. Yeah. So yeah, do those things.
or other things that will help you. Let us know what they are.
Yeah, please, because we need all the help we can get.
Yeah, for sure.
So the song we're going to do is a sacred song I wrote 12 years ago. It was 12 years ago I wrote this. It's a song called God is Good. I do it at our churches a lot. So we'll be playing for that for you. And until next time, we love you. We want you to stay human and stay
persevere. Keep
creating. Stay creating. And we'll see you soon. Bye.
Test. And God is good, God is good. Let all the world be still. His love endures, His love endures, though our trials and sorrows spill. God is good, God is good. Let all the world be still. His love endures, His love endures, though our trials and sorrows spill. And it's He who made the heavens, it's He who calmed the seas. It's He whose home is glory, and His blood has pardoned me. Yes, His blood has pardoned me. God is good, God is good. His ways are too high for me. The pain, the shame that He endured was meant for you and me. And it's He who made the heavens, it's He who calmed the seas. It's He whose home is glory, and His blood has pardoned me. Yes, His blood has pardoned me. And you are good, you are good, you are good in all your ways. You are good, It's He whose home is glory, and His blood has pardoned me. Yes, His blood has pardoned me. God is good. God is good.